Critical Blast, where pop culture gets blasted.
And good evening, everybody. RJ Carter here, Senior Managing Editor for CriticalBlast.com. And we've got a special night here. Usually we have one person come on and we talk for an hour. Sometimes we have open mic and just everybody comes in. Sort of a mix here. We opened the mic up earlier on today. We had 3 people ready to come on and talk their comics. So please welcome with me to the screen here. First of all, man who needs no introduction, but we'll give him one anyway. The legend Mike Barron. Mike, how you doing tonight?
Good, thanks.
Glad to have you on the show. Also, we have Matthew Vealey, who's got a crowdfund going for Otis Stein. Matthew, welcome.
Thank you, sir. It's good to be here.
And last but not least, we have Max DeVill with his comic book, which it will catch your attention when you see it. Trust me, it is Mary Machine Gun. I almost said it backwards. Correct. Machine Gun Mary because of your Twitter handle there.
Yeah.
So, Max, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me.
So, you know, I'm going to ask the new guys here, but Mike, I don't think I've ever asked you this question. Why did you get into comic books?
Well, I always loved comics. I always wanted to be a writer. I'm not real choosy about my medium. I write novels as well. But comics, it just has special power for me. And the reason is that I picked up Uncle Scrooge comics when I was a kid growing up in Mitchell, South Dakota, and they grabbed my imagination. Reading those comics, I had a sense that something special was going on, that it wasn't just people going through the motions. Carl Barks knew how to grab a reader by the throat and involve him in his characters. They were so well written, and the images were so astonishing. And the funny thing is, Carl Barks never traveled the world. He got all those images out of National Geographic. But with his drafting skill and his imagination, he created these wonderful worlds like the world of the Maya, the Andes, the Egyptian pyramids, South Africa, Antarctica, the Klondike. You were there.
Yeah,
and,
he took you with him.
Yeah, and Scrooge and Donald were kind of an everyman.
It's true. I mean, you know, Scrooge was, you know, had all the money in the world, but he wasn't a sit at home, send people out kind of guy. He was let's go get that treasure guy. So he
right, and he says, and I earned it the hard way.
Matthew, I'm going to share another screen here. I've got everybody's things up here. But you know what? Oh, this is where it's going to get funky. Because now I can't see, and I can't control anything now, but I'm just going to keep the screens up here. This is the cover for Otis Stein. I'm going to scroll back up to the top. Everybody in the chat, by the way, the links to the projects we're talking tonight here will be in the description below. We have Otis Stein up for Matthew. We have Florida Man still up for Mike Barron, because I didn't know if I needed to put another one up there, Mike. I didn't, again, I did not check. If I do, I will make that link happen. And then we have Mary Machine Gun for Max.
Yeah.
And these last two here are just kind of getting started, it looks like. Well, no, I take that back. Otis has funded. Otis, what are you doing here? You know, Matthew? No, it's cool. It takes the pressure off of me. Double funded. Very good.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Yes, thank you.
This is I want to start with the Otis Stein book because it's got a very unusual art style to it, and I haven't quite been able to put a name to it. I've seen it before. I've seen it in a lot of underground comics, I think. Wasn't Arkham style, but there's been some work like this.
It reminds me of old Boneyard Press stuff, kind of mixed with that old early 90s Rob Zombie.
Yeah, it's and it looks like there's going to be some sort of a Frankenstein riff going on here. We got the
it's basically about Otis Stein. He's falling on hard times like we've all been. He resorts to making moonshine to sell and make some money on the side. Ends up he gets blown up and his wife pieces him back together. not everything is as it seems. A lot of dark forces are gathering in the background.
Okay.
But this is my love letter to all the horror movies I grew up watching with my father. Like all the old school Universal monster movies, like Frankenstein with Boris Karloff, and my favorite was The Invisible Man. But it even kind of references like a lot of the stuff from like the Hammer films, or even more recent with like the Evil Dead series with Sam Raimi, not the remake. And it's been a labor of love.
Let's see if there's any other. Obviously, this is the full cover to it. It's almost like it's wood carved. So, is this your own art, or did you have an artist do this?
No, this is actually the art of Carlos F. Rodriguez. There's actually a link to his Twitter and his YouTube channel in one of the updates on the campaign as well. I really was just drawn to his art because he has this, I've heard it described as a contoured art style, but it felt like an indie horror movie to me. Like it just kind of looked different. It didn't fit in with everything else around it. And I just love that aspect of it. It kind of has that, I don't want to say it to degrade the artwork because I love B movies, but it has like a B movie kind of feel to it.
Yeah. We got some unlettered pages in here. This is obviously the explosion of the barn where the still is, and his wife observing that. And I see colored pages here. So is the book black and white, or is it colored?
Well, the book's in black and white, but it's got a full color cover and back.
Okay, so this will be the back of the book.
Yeah, that's the back cover right there. That's actually the pencils were by Leahyton. He's one of my friends, and Carlos, the artist, actually on the book ended up inking and coloring it.
All right. And she's got like the Book of the Dead there, trying to put her husband back together, stitching things up.
Little Evil Dead reference.
Yeah, very cool looking. I like how the antlers also kind of laid out behind her.
Is she going to eat that eye?
No, she's trying to figure out whether it's his left or his right eye.
Oh, that would be a mess to get mixed up, wouldn't it? Well, you only had a $500 goal on that one. Was that reasonable, or is that what you really needed, or did you need more and you just kind of aimed low?
Well, yeah. See, the book's already done. We're ready to print. I've already invested my own time and resources into this book. So the $500 goal is just what we need to print.
Okay.
If it does really well, we make a good little bit of money. That's going to get poured into the next projects down the road.
Now,
but the goal was just to get it to print.
Okay. It says it has 58 days left. How many days did you have on this to begin with? Was this a 60-day job?
Yeah. We set it for 60 days. We're also planning on running Kickstarter here in about a little over a week and a half.
Right.
While leaving money on the table. That's
yeah. So 250% over goal, 2 days.
Yes.
That's
maybe
good.
some kind of percentage record.
Could be.
Yeah, I was completely blown away. Like I can't say it enough. Like just thanks to all the people who have supported it. This is my first book. I didn't really expect this kind of reception on it. So I'm just very humbled.
All right, I'm going to skip over now to Mary Machine Gun for a second. And Max, you actually have a video on this, so I was smart enough this time to click the sound button when I start sharing pages. You've got 55 days left. You do not have 250% of your goal. So
no, I do not.
We need to work on that, folks. There's a link down in the description below, and we'll check out the perks here as we move along. But let's see the effort that went into the video here. That looks like it'd be cool. Loud and angry.
Mary Machine Gun, the debut comic from Atrocity Press, is coming soon, and you can help make it a reality. Mary, a member of the Templar Order, is tasked with hunting the supernatural in order to keep humanity safe. After destroying a vampire, she is tasked with going undercover in small town Kentucky, this time to hunt an entire pack of werewolves. While she conducts her investigation, she finds herself surrounded by not only the evil, the supernatural, but the most evil creatures of all, mankind itself. Will she accomplish her mission, or will she fall under the spell of evil that seems to permeate humanity to its core? Find out in Mary Machine Gun, issue 1 of 3. With 4 distinct covers and some of the best perks ever to grace Indiegogo, you do not want to miss the first issue of Mary Machine Gun. Book 1 of this incredible series has a story by Max DeVill with art and colors by the fantastic Fern Court. This is going to go perfectly with any Batgirl comic collector's inventory. Help us make this come to life and become a reality. Back it today.
Okay, so if you have a nun fetish, this is definitely going to be.
Yeah,
Who
this one,
doesn't?
it was originally called Sister Mary Machine Gun, but we dropped the sister because it was too limiting on the stories we could tell. We wanted to be able to move her around all over the world in the upcoming series. But this 3-book series is already written, so she's a nun in this one.
So okay, so she can change jobs. She's not tied
Yeah,
to the order of some kind.
The Templar Order itself is external from the church, but they utilize the church in order to move their agents around the world undetected.
Okay, I can go along with that. I can get that. You said it's all the 3 issues are written. What about drawn? Because there's a lot of art here.
The first issue is completely drawn. We're finishing the colors now. That's Fern Cord's doing he did the art and the colors for this. So it's all on him. Other than that, it's all drawn. We have about 7 or 8 more pages to color, and as you can tell, he's a wonderful colorist. That's what I originally hired him for.
Yeah, and the art is definitely appealing. I mean, yeah, okay, it's food cover, but I'm saying that it's it looks like a comic book done by somebody with experience, not by somebody who's tracing for the first time around.
We were trying to go for that old Top Cow image look from the 90s.
Yeah, all the chastity, the Lady Death.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't go excuse me. We didn't go as crazy as Brian does with Lady Death, but we kind of kept it a little more grounded, but there's still a lot to be seen in it. We've got the first 7 pages up on our Indiegogo, so if anyone wants to come check it out, they can read the first 7.
All right, we have that link down there in the description for that. And as far as an entry point goes for getting the book, $15. That's fairly reasonable when compared to all the crowdfunded books that are out there. How many pages is that?
It's so right now it's 34 pages.
Okay.
And each book is going to come in about 34 pages, and there's 3 in the series.
Very cool. How long have you been working on this?
Probably about a year now. The first artist that we ended up parting ways. Just nothing angry or anything. It's just we didn't see eye to eye on the way that the art design would be done. But
it didn't work out.
Yeah, and Fernando, he was the guy that we hired for colors, and he stepped up and really picked up my script, and he did a few test pages, and I was like, okay, this is it. I mean, we're going for the I guess people call it the TNA comic or whatever, but there's really no nudity in it.
No, it's all well placed steam clouds and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Which is typical. It's not like I got my tarot, which is the Black Rose over here, and there's no steam on that cover. It's straight up
The
sky
Black
color.
Rose?
Yeah, well, Jim Bauman stuff. The stuff he's doing for Broadsword now.
Because we're doing a series of westerns called The Black Rose, which is about an order of killer nuns.
Nice.
Nuns are hot right now.
Yeah, nuns are hot. They've always been hot.
They always have been. It's been one of my things for a while. I've always liked the nuns. That's why that's where this story originally came from. And then as we got about halfway through it, we were like, that really kind of limits what we can do with some of these characters. So let's just drop the sister.
This is the
There you go.
fickle finger of censorship here, but this is Jim balancing, and it's Tarot, Witch of the Black Rose. He's been doing that for 20 years now with Broadsword Comics. So Black Rose is he's been talking that one up for a while. Been in use.
There's 4 covers. The first cover is by Maria Benez. It's however you want to say it. It's Ed's sister from Superman and Justice League and Wildcats. So he did that one. He'll be doing, or she did that one. He'll be doing one for book 2.
Oh, you have Ed Benez doing book 2. Okay.
Yep, he's doing the cover for book 2. That one right there that you're pointing at, that's by Jeff Batista. He's a pretty good artist that I found. A lot of these guys in Brazil are very, very active. As soon as I met up with Fernando, I've met a lot of artists in Brazil.
And they're a lot cheaper than American artists because, North American artists, because the dollar goes a lot further there. I guess.
It does go a lot further there. And you can get some quality art for not as much as you would for page rates in the United States. But cover C, that's by Will Torres. It's a Spawn homage. If you know the Spawn cover, it's up on our Twitter. And then cover D is by a guy named Rarix. He's a fantastic pencilist. He did a really good job on the werewolf, I think.
Did the Renaissance movement here of crowdfunding and Comicsgate and all this stuff going on have any influence on you deciding to do a comic book?
No, not really, not at all. We had already had it planned for a few years, and then Comicsgate kicked off, and it was great. I saw all these indie creators actually getting their books created, and that was interesting for me. And the only thing that it did was it made me not try to chase standard publishing, typically the way people do publishing. Like I wasn't going to submit to any publisher.
Sure.
I was just going to start my own publishing house, and we'll go ahead and crowdfund everything. Other than that, it's just coming out of my pocket. So,
what would be cool with this character would be a crossover with see you got your Steam Clouds there.
Yep.
Zenoscope has Belle Beast Hunter, which is a lot like your character here. It's going out and hunting the vampires and the werewolves and all that stuff. And of course, she's Beauty from Beauty and the Beast for their,
of course,
Grimm Fairy Tales universe. But I see these two crossing paths coming after a monster.
That would be pretty cool. I mean, I really like the Grimm's Fairy Tales stuff for sure.
Yeah, get Ralph Tedesco on the line here and chat him up, see what you could do. But first, get it published. We'll get back to that in a second here. And Mike, this Florida Man trailer here, I'm gonna run this because
this is awesome.
I can never hear this trailer enough.
Hey man, y'all got beer still?
You've seen the stories. Now, writer Mike Barron and artist Todd Mulrooney are bringing the quintessential Florida man, Gary Duba, to life. Gary's just a regular guy living in a trailer with his girlfriend Crystal, but he's got dreams, big dreams. He just invented house suspenders that will secure any home to the ground in rough weather. And now he's going to show them off on Piranha Pool, the TV show where venture capitalists and entrepreneurs pony up if they like your pitch. But when his gal Crystal gains notoriety as an infamous amateur wrestler, she quickly advances to the pro circuit where her greatest challenge is an angry Australian grappler. Follow Gary and Crystal on their extraordinary journey from rags to riches. To rags, to riches, to rags, to riches. All while dealing with shady lawyers, toilet snakes, wild gators, cheating hearts, feral hogs, and problem shoppers. Back Florida Man today and reserve your very own copy of the Florida Man graphic novel. We're bringing back funny books, y'all.
Again, just super impressed with that trailer, and I know that
Chris
Chris
Brawley put
Braley
it
does it for a
together.
living.
It is
Yeah,
awesome.
I guarantee you
you're
will
doing well
laugh
in
out
it.
loud and you'll spit milk out through your nose.
That's a trick, especially if you're not drinking milk at the time. That's just how good it is. You're doing great on this. You got 623 backers. It's in demand now at
Yeah, it's in
32,000.
demand. You can still sign up and get the copy. It's going to be a big book, and it's funny. I think it's probably the funniest comic that's ever been released. You know, a lot of comic books profess to be comic, but
Yeah.
they don't really produce gut-busting laughs. This one will, I guarantee it.
Now, Mike, I've seen this one. It's been on Kickstarter and it's on Indiegogo here. I've actually found this on a third location, and I'm going to be following up on this real soon with some folks. But there's a new crowdfunder in town that you apparently are working with called Indie Crowdfund, and
That's
I
true.
guess they're and their goal is to crowdfund things to a retailer level, so that something that retailers can get in play on.
That's right.
That's going to be very cool. I was glad to see your project on there because I think it's going to bring a lot of gravitas to it.
IndieCrowdfund.com.
And it's still in beta stage, but it's going to be cool. Now yours
Gotcha.
is a $25 entry fee if you want to just get the print book.
Yeah, but it's a big book. It's not a book you're going to read and forget and toss in the back of the closet. As soon as you're done reading it, you're going to hand it to the person next to you and say, you got to read this.
Now, you've mentioned this a few times before when you talk about how you write and how you just, grab the reader by the throat and drag them along for the ride. What techniques do you, or are there, how do you know you've got a good hook on the reader?
Well, when I entertain myself, a lot of writers have self-doubt, but when you get to a certain level, you don't have self-doubt. You're on track, and I have that feeling. And the humor arises out of the situations and the personalities and the characters. It's situational humor, which is the funniest kind, and the highest level of humor is absurdity. For instance,
Right.
I go to the dog park every morning, and I see dogs running around, and they take a crap, and the owner has his face buried in a phone, and I'll say, "Hey, buddy, your dog took a crap," and I'll stand there and point to it, and he'll come up and say, "Thank you," and I'll say, "It's my pleasure."
I thought you were going to say he's got his face buried in his phone and takes a step forward and steps in it.
No, but that's not a bad idea.
No, not at all. Artwork from Todd Mulrooney is just beautiful on this thing. Love the colors.
That image right there, that's Floyd in the middle. That's Gary's best friend. Gary's in the background on the right, and he's the hero of the story.
Yeah,
He's
Floyd's
invented
the guy who's always got a plan, isn't he?
Yeah, Gary's always looking for a quick buck. He's got a great heart. He's got a heart of gold. In many ways, he's the most admirable character in the book. But he's got a hair-trigger temper. He doesn't always make the best decisions. And he likes to party. He likes to get high. He likes to drink. He's got a bit of a police record for drunk and disorderly, resisting arrest, public lewdness. But there's nothing gross or disgusting in the book. Unlike many of the Florida Man stories, such as Florida Man claims syringe found in rectum is not his, we don't go there. But there's enough Florida Man stories to inspire the story, some of which are taken from the actual stories, but most of which I worked in trying to structure a novel that would sustain a reader over, say, 80,000 words. It was a novel first, and now we're turning it into a graphic novel. Actually, I conceived it as a comic, but when I wrote the scripts, I realized I had a very detailed outline for the novel. So I wrote the novel, and I sent it to my publisher, and he snapped it up. It was in print within a month, and it's by far my most successful novel. Go figure, because I always wanted to write horror and thrillers. And there are 2 out now in the series, but now we're finally getting back to the beginning and doing it as a comic. It's kind of like a snake eating its tail. A toilet snake.
The toilet snake eating its tail.
Yeah.
As well as fighting stuffed bunnies and
Right. If you want to have fun, just do a Google search for snakes in toilet pictures.
I've seen those pictures and I've
It should be
heard
a
those
coffee
stories.
table book.
All right. So
I like the the alligator snapping at the back of the lady.
Yeah, the copper
Uh,
tone ad.
yeah, the old school. Yeah, that old school copper tone ad. That was nice. I like that.
That's one of the premiums. We're offering that as a towel and as postcards. The towel, I mean, you got that towel, you're going to be the envy of everybody at the beach.
I just
I've
backed
been
the book.
I've been
Actually.
ignoring the chat while I've been sharing the screen because otherwise I share the infinite screen of infinity, and it's pretty hard to read them. So welcome everybody in the chat. Good to see some returning folks here. BAP2.
Awesome.
If you ever come on my channel and you're hawking your book for the first time and you see BAP2 in the chat, smile, because very likely he's going to back your book like he just did Mary Machine Gun here.
Thank you.
So
Thank you
we're
very
done for the
much.
night. I've accomplished something.
we got
I'm
it back. All
did what
right.
I set out to do. Lorenzo Sleestak, good to have you. Don Chin, everybody, the legend from just a couple of weeks ago. Been a legend a lot longer than that. He was on my show just last week. So that elevates him to legend status in my book.
Don's a realtor.
I know that. Wait a second. Did you say he's a real turd? No, Don's a nice guy.
Don's a gentleman, but he does sell houses.
Absolutely. But he's back into selling comics, Mike.
Yeah, I know. In fact, I just wrote a script for him.
Oh, hello. Well, now we get you both on the show sometime. Don, if you want to come in the show, just let me know. I'll send you a link over to the show here and get you in. I want to get back, Matthew. I want to get back to you because I'm trying to go around here. It's difficult for me to talk with the crowd and give everybody fair time. So if I'm not attending to you,
No, you're good. You're good.
But
Yeah, I understand.
tell us a little bit more about the Otis Stein story, as far as when you came up with it and what sort of prompted you to say, hey, I want to make a comic and this is what it's going to be.
Well, it all started back in around 2016. One of my friends had actually messaged me because he had actually started working on this thing called Ashcan Comics Pub, where this guy, Nate, set up a Patreon, and he had a bunch of us just like contributing for little flash fiction Ashcans. We'd have like one illustration coupled with a 3-page story. So you could join that, and for $10 a month, they'd send you like 2 books and maybe some stickers or whatever.
It's a cool idea.
Anyways, he was working on that, and their first title was coming up, and they ended up, I guess, the writer quit. I don't know exactly what happened, but he reached out to me. He's like, I know you love horror stuff, monster movies. We need a piece about kind of a Frankenstein character. Do you want to write one? I was like, okay, yeah, sure. So I went to town, and I had him this kind of lyrical poem written up that was 3 pages long. It was actually to the tune of 16 tons. I was like, I'm going to use one of these old minor domain songs, public domain. Anyways, after that came out, people like Doug Garrett like kept bugging me. He's like, I love this character. You need to do a book about it. And I was, yeah, I'll get around to it. And like 3 months later, I finally pulled the trigger. We started in on it. I really got more into developing the character, especially with the subsequent releases on ACP. I did a few other stories, and they were all kind of in the same universe. And yeah, I mean, it's great. I grew up loving comics. I've always wanted to make my own, and it's finally reality. And it's just one more thing to scratch off the bucket list.
So was it, were you nervous going in and writing your first comic? I mean, you had written before, but you hadn't written a comic.
It was actually a lot easier than writing in prose. Because like I don't like writing in prose because you're wasting a lot of time just explaining how things look, which that can get pretty boring. Hold on, the dogs are going nuts.
I was wondering who had the puppers. So BAP2 has backed everybody on the page right now. So
Thank you very much, BAP2.
Mikey backed you back in July, so there's no new change on your screen.
Thanks, Bap.
I back sometime too.
I did back Florida Man just now myself. and I
Thanks,
got-
Max.
Oh,
No
this
problem.
is cool. We're getting cross promoting.
I had seen it before, and I was gonna back it, and I got sidetracked and forgot about it, and then saw who was on tonight, and I was like, oh, I was gonna back that book, and I figured I'd do it live on air.
You know, it's funny. There's something in the. I'm gonna go back to the Indiegogo here because I don't know if a lot of people have seen what happens on Indiegogo here. I gotta go back to sharing the page. I know a lot of people will go into what they backed and they're saying, okay, I'm waiting for this to come in. I'm waiting for that to come in. Yeah, okay, everybody can see the things I backed here. But there's this referrals tab here that I thought was pretty interesting. And I don't know if anybody uses that or what it could be used for. But apparently if you, where did it go? All right, well, apparently if you use the little link that's at the bottom here, instead of grabbing the whole URL at the top, if you take this link here, then Indiegogo knows it's you. And if anybody follows that link, it puts it over here and says, hey, you have helped these people indirectly by sending over people who bought them. And hey, look, there's Otis Stein #1, $13 in there, and Mary Machine Gun, $32 in there. So
All right.
this is how it works. And I don't know if anybody could like leverage that in a campaign.
I
Say,
did.
hey, you know, if we get so many referrals or something, or whoever gives us the most referrals, we'll have a contest.
Yeah,
that
get
could be
something
interesting.
for it.
I actually did that.
You did that? How'd you pull it
Yeah.
off?
Top 5 referrals. The person with the most will get like a free page of art along with the book and all the goodies that come with it. Second place will get the book, just not in the original art page, and then so on and so forth.
Now, with crowdfunding, especially with the comic books, there's a lot more than just the comic book that people are expecting these days, which is weird, kind of, because when you go to the comic shop and you want to get a comic book, that's all you go for is the comic book. But now everybody's like wanting, well, I want to get extra pages. I want to get a sticker. I want to get a postcard. Where's my pull-out poster? What kind of thought do you put into your tiers and when you want to introduce them at what levels? Max, we'll start with you on that one.
Well, there was one, the calendar we already had planned anyways, so that one was an easy one. We knew that was going to be coming out. Then we decided that we don't want to do nudity with Mary at all yet. We'll make it a bigger deal if we hold off on it. But there's another character named Charlotte who is quite free with her body, and there will be naughty pinups and covers of her coming up eventually. We do have one of the
Man knows
naughty
what
images.
sells comics, folks.
Yep, they'll have one of the naughty images coming up with this campaign. It's actually one of the tiers you can use to back the book. And the other thing you see behind me is my Vampirella, and I've always wanted one of Mary, so I decided to do cardboard stand-ups.
Very cool. So,
And of course, T-shirts and stickers and buttons and just the standard swag that everybody gives out.
so you're saying that cardboard stand-ups of Mary are one of the tiers on your?
Correct. Yes, they are. It's one of the higher end tiers at the very bottom because they're not cheap, especially when I'm not making hundreds of thousands of them.
I'm just curious what that would go for here. Oh, that's not terrible.
No,
the
it's
cover
not too
and-
bad.
Well, shipping's gonna bite into that as well.
Yeah.
Nobody's bitten on it yet, but I think that would probably be.
No, but once we get the art up, Fernando's
Yeah.
finishing the art for that, and once we get the art up, we plan on showing all the stages of it. We have the pencils, and then the inks, and then the colors, and then we'll have a picture of the stand up once we get it.
Yeah, that'll help sell that a little bit better when people can
Yeah.
see what the stand up's going to look like.
Exactly. I mean, you don't want to like spend $125 on something that is just a random. Well, it could be cool. Who knows? But the picture's awesome. It looks great. We're going to release the image for it here, probably in the next week or so.
Now, how assuming that you fund, we'll always assume that you're going to fund.
Yeah.
How long do you think it's going to be before people get the book in their hands? If you were to pick a month and a year.
Well, if we can get it funded at the end of the crowdfunding, it's just a matter of however long it takes the printer to print it and get the books to me. And let's put it this way, we're planning on shipping them in the hard plastic top loader type things, not just bagged and boarded. We want to go a little more higher end with our
Like the
shipping.
Gemini mailers?
Basically, yeah. Except for they're about the 5 millimeter thick plastic. They're just it's like a hard plastic shell. You just drop it in the top, then we'll seal the
I
top
gotcha.
with tape. That way we seal it up with tape. That way, if it rains and it could leak through on a bag and board, it could leak through. We don't want anybody to have any negative experiences, so we'll spend the extra money to send it more securely.
Yeah, because you don't want it coming back either.
Exactly.
that costs you money.
Exactly.
Mike, your special tiers here were pretty unique as well, and we'll start with this beach party bundle here. Walk us through some of the stuff that they get on this one.
Well, you get a lunchbox, a printed lunchbox. It's got the copper tone ad on it, and that's our version of the copper tone ad that you can see up there at the top. You get the towel, and you get a series of postcards which show that. You want to make somebody really happy, you send them that postcard. At one level, you can get drawn into the comic during the wrestling scenes, because it's going to be an arena with a lot of people in it. I think we have one premium left where you get to be a wrestling valet that conducts one of the fighters into the ring. So it's a major role. We might even throw you a line or two. Nothing too embarrassing, I hope. And the shirt. Yeah, shirt.
Nice looking shirt there.
Beautiful.
I love how you incorporated the state of Florida, just turned it upside down and made it an L in the.
I think that's
logo.
the handiwork of Elliot Rodriguez.
It's got the feminine figure to it too, which is cool.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. How it's sitting there like the trucker
Yep.
silhouette on the mud flaps.
Leave
I'm
it
never
to
going
me.
to see Florida the same way again.
leave it to me to find the TNA.
You got to stand on your head to look at Florida that way. If you're in space, you turn your ship around so you can see that.
Paging Dr. Freud. And then, of course, this is the
That's the design. Yeah.
same design you see on the towel
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
So that's a cool beach towel.
Oh yeah.
Have you got any of the beach towels in yet, Mike, to see what they'll look like once they're in your hand? Because I understand that this is a beach towel company and they put your artwork on it and they say this is what
Not
it looks
me.
like. But
Chris might have.
all right, well, I have to hit him up and see what he's got. That's what I was looking for. The lunchbox there.
Yeah.
Nobody's done lunchboxes that I know of.
No,
Well,
but
Dark
that's
Horse
awesome.
used to do them.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did do the back in the day. I like the metal. I love
Yeah.
I love how it's metal.
You'd be proud to use that as your briefcase. If you have a regular job, an IT job, or you have to show up in a suit, and if you could fit your stuff in that lunchbox.
My computers are tiny these days.
Yeah, absolutely. I just put my iPhone in there. My iPhone, an Apple, and a PB&J, and I'd be good to go.
That's all you need.
Has that got a thermos in it? He said, asking for all kinds of new stuff.
Fly Fox tells me that Elliot Fernandez is the designer of that logo.
Oh, okay, cool.
Rodriguez
did a
is my
good job.
neighbor.
Take that off there. All right, so Matthew, what about you? Any perks on the Otis Stein stuff that you worked out?
Well, yeah, the one I'm really proud of is I decided to do an 18 by 24 inch blacklight poster of the
Ooh.
cover. And we actually went in and edited it, switched out a few of the color schemes, and so it actually worked better with the UV ink. I forget the technical term the printer kept using. But that is like, I don't know, somebody suggested it. They were like, that cover would make a great blacklight poster. And I just went for it, mainly because I want one.
Yeah, well, I know Ethan did a blacklight poster of his Salamandroid, and that might have, kicked some people's minds into gear because, who thought of a blacklight poster since 1982?
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought it was a cool idea.
Yeah, I've always enjoyed blacklight posters, being in
The
high
only thing I
school,
do with blacklight, I've got blacklight in the house, but it's in a little flashlight. I got a little blacklight flashlight, and it's for finding where the cat peed in the closet.
Oh, that sounds fun.
It is fun. You get this nice big white spot that shows up in the dark. Like, yep, there it is. It's a much more efficient means of finding it than your foot.
Yeah.
Exactly
Besides the poster itself, I've also got 1.5 inch hard enamel pins of the Otis Stein logo.
Oh, those are cool. And you're doing enamel, I saw.
Yeah, it's hard enamel. The difference between the soft and the hard is the soft actually has like the outlying parts like raised up higher than the actual color enamels. In the hard, they bake it differently, and it actually rises up to be completely smooth.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen people doing doing pins. I mean, we've done we've got pins like this that have the little tie tack thing on the back, but they're acrylic and they're printed on the back. So I've seen enamel. I haven't done enamel for a long time, but those are really nice. So that's a really cool perk to go in for.
And aside from that, we do have a limited tier, which is the Grave Robber, which that actually, one of the reasons why it's called the Grave Robber is it's actually extra copies of Doug Garrett's book, Lone Wolf #1 will be included in it, as well as some leftover stickers he had for Gravestone Press, which is the publisher that even my book's under, and Lone Wolf stickers. And they're also getting a really special Otis Stein logo sticker that's, I think, 3 inches that I got on a really small run from, who was it? Sticker Mule.
Sticker Mule.
Yeah, and I only had like 40 of those left, so I decided
3-inch stickers from Sticker Mule. Yeah, we got swag here, folks.
Yeah, I got those acrylic pins too, but I wanted to shoot for the hard enamel.
Yeah, where'd you get the hard enamel at? Send me a link on that sometime later, because I'd love to do hard enamel.
Yeah, I'll send you the place I go through. I've seen other places that were charging like $200 more than what it ended up costing us, but I won't get into the boring finances.
Yeah. I've ordered them for like my Toastmasters club 5-6 years ago with their logo on it, but that was a long time ago, and it wasn't my money to spend. It was company money, so it was a lot easier. It's always easier to spend somebody else's money.
That it is. We have enamel pins in the Mary Swag.
Damn, I'm behind then. Mike, you're going to need to get Florida Man enamel pins now, because you
Yep,
just
now I need an enamel pin.
You can't let the new guys pass you up in the swag department. Lorenzo, I'm holding my mic out a little bit here. Hopefully that's better. Low volume has always been a constant feedback from the chat on my streams whenever I use this thing. I try not to use it now, but my laptop is going through a little bit of a fix. Hopefully within the next week it'll be up, and I'll have, a good mic going again that doesn't have any problems. I'm not quite sure what I was going to ask next, but I think I've covered everything I wanted to cover. We've talked about how you got into the comics, what your tiers are. We've got some sales going on here. Mike, you got a project coming up here real soon now, and we're going to try and get you and the team on that one. You want to talk a little bit about that and what it's going to be? You can even share some screen if you've got any on it.
What is it?
Oh, that's a good question. What is it? Let's see here.
I'm doing a Nexus Lone Star Bigfoot Bill crossover.
That's the one. Yes. So finally, we're starting to see some of these crossovers within the crowdfunding universe. So you'll have Mike Miller's Lone Star and Doug TeNaples' Bigfoot Bill.
Lone Star crossed over with Jawbreakers in Monster Hunters. It's one of the books he sent me to do a little research. But this is going to be Nexus and Lone Star would seem to be a pretty natural team up. Bigfoot Bill, I just read the comics that Doug did, and they're very funny. I was very impressed. But, that's the thing about comics. It's the most forgiving medium there is. You can get away with stuff in comics that you couldn't in any other medium. But I'll tell you, it'll be a good story. It'll have some laughs. It'll have some scares. I had a wonderful teacher when I went to college, and he said, you make them laugh a little bit, you make them cry a little bit, you scare the hell out of them, and that's entertainment.
Yeah, that's a good formula. That's a very good formula. That's, sort of what's in all my Destroyer novels. You have something that's really scary, but it's absurd. And, there's the satire throughout the whole thing, but people die, and they die as bloodily as possible. So it's a weird,
especially in the Destroyer novels.
Yes, I mean, I actually, my first Destroyer novel, the publisher sent it back to me with margin notes and said "gross!" exclamation point. I was like, "Yep, cool." Well, I had a guy. He was fighting a sumo assassin, and Remo basically lifted him and impaled his backside on an iron post of a wrought iron fence, and then pulled him back off of it and threw him down, and he was prolapsed out and it was like, his fighting name was was Os Ho, so he was the big Os Ho, and so he ended up with a bigger Os Ho. But yeah, I mean, comics, you can team up anybody. So having Bigfoot Bill and Nexus and Lone Star, yeah, it's doable. I mean, when you could have Archie and the Punisher and make it work, when you can have Batman and Elmer Fudd be one of the best issues of Tom King's run, then yeah, you can do anything within comics.
You can.
I was going to say you can't do it as well in movies, but then I remember Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and we haven't had another one like that in
yeah,
in
but
years.
that never would have been possible without 50 years of comics preceding it.
True.
And certainly the cartoons that Hollywood has produced, Chuck Jones material and Fritz Freleng and all those guys who kind of set the tone for that.
Yeah, I miss good cartoons, but that's an entirely other video.
Good cartoons are hard to come by anymore. Everything is all digitally animated, and it's which is okay. I like some of them. There's nothing wrong with it, but I'd like someone to go back to the old hand-drawn Ralph Bakshi style stuff.
Well, my
Ralph
friend
Bakshi.
Steve Rude likes the old Hanna-Barbera style and the Chuck Jones style, and he produced a Nexus, a 3-minute animated cartoon, which anybody can watch on the internet. All you have to do is Google Nexus animated short Steve Rude, and it'll come up, and it's pretty well done.
I'll have to check it out. I'll write that down.
I'm looking it up now.
He spent 3 years and I think $17,000 animating 3 minutes.
Holy cow, that's a lot of money for. Okay, Nexus the animated short.
There's one that's 36 seconds and one that's 3 minutes long. It's a preview.
Yeah, because this is only 35 seconds. This is not what I want to see. I want to see the whole kit and caboodle here. Nexus the animated series promo. Maybe this will do it.
That's it.
Here we go. All right. Settle back, children. We're gonna check something out here. Very Space Ghost. Okay. Looks like.
You know,
All right. Well, we know who produced it. That's cool.
it almost looks like something you'd see on Adult Swim.
Yeah. It's almost every scene that I ever saw in the Hanna-Barbera sci-fi universe.
Yeah, pretty much.
Very, very cool stuff. Mike, remind me again who the masked bunny rabbit is.
The masked bunny rabbit.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of Steve's creations. We haven't given him a name yet. But you know, he would draw these characters in the background, and they were so fascinating. I'd bring them forward and give them lines and give them a name, and that's how like characters like Fuerzo and Giz were created.
Because you could once you're done with the Lone Star and Bigfoot Bill, go talk to Tim Lim and get a Nexus and Black Hops crossover going, because that's a natural connection right there.
Not a bad idea.
I like how the laser
That's what
beam.
I do.
I like how the laser beam went around it, but like on a completely erratic path.
Yeah, it was like Darkseid's Omega beams. It's like I just that was the thing about Darkseid's Omega beams, was that in the comics they took the erratic path for no reason. They weren't going around stuff. It was just Jack Kirby saying, "Let's cut right, cut left, go up, go down." So that was cool. I love seeing stuff like that. So Matthew.
Yeah.
Once Otis Stein is out, are there more Otis Steins in your future, or are you already working on a different kind of project? Since this is funded and it's going to go out, you're going to be thinking of the future now.
Actually, both. I've already got plans for more Otis Stein books. I've already pretty rough drafts all the way up to issue 4. I've got an overall arc planned, but I'm also got another project. I don't want to say too much about it, but it's going to be more of a sci-fi kind of Fifth Element type of book.
Okay. You thinking about the same art
And
style or going a
I'll
different
announce that
direction with
once
it?
we get. I like staying busy.
I hear you. I hear you. Always have something to wake up to do the next day, because we're put here to accomplish a certain number of things in our life. And right now, I'm so far behind, I will never die, which is part of the plan. Max, what about you? You got something planned for after?
We do. We have, well, of course, we've got Mary 2 and 3 because it's a 3-story or 3-book story arc. But we've also got a cyberpunk book that we've been working on for the last couple of years called Neo Tokyo Virus. That's about a hacker who ends up with some information that he's not supposed to have, and corporations want him dead. And they end up causing a whole bunch of problems in his life.
Okay. Now, I'm not saying this to you guys to put you in any kind of a despairing mood, because I want you to finish your projects. But Mike, you've seen this happen in writing before, when you come up with a novel concept and you put it out there, and suddenly 3 or 4 people have come out at the same time with a very similar kind of idea going on.
Happens all the time. You
Every
remember the
day.
year there were 2 Christopher Columbus movies?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, one was called
absolutely.
1492, and I think the other was called Columbus. And
Yeah.
then one year there were 2 volcano movies.
2
Absolutely.
giant asteroid movies.
Yeah.
It just happened. So I just wanted to let you know that, obviously, Max, you're aware that Dynamite has the Sacred Sisters out, which is
Yep.
nuns fighting monsters.
Yep.
Well,
And-
let's not forget Ben Dunn's Warrior Nun.
Yep. Warrior Nun. Alea.
Absolutely.
And then there's I got it around here somewhere. There's another one that's I collect nun stuff. So
That's a bunch of nonsense.
Yes, exactly. Um,
And then Matthew, there's another Frankenstein book being crowdfunded right now too. This one through Patreon, and we've had the folks on here to talk about it a couple weeks back, called Confederate Monster, which is Frankenstein, post Frankenstein, taking place during the Civil War. They come to America, and it's mid 1800s.
I'm actually going to have to look that up. If it's still available, I'm going to buy that. I love Frankenstein.
I think it's not done yet, and that one was an interesting one because it's not being crowd funded; it's being Patreon funded. So it's like you get pages every month with your Patreon subscription, but then there will be a finished book at the end of it too, a printed book. But so
Yeah, that's the
Frankenstein's
type
your
of thing,
jam.
right?
Frankenstein is your jam that you pick up things on, and Max, you'd like to pick up nun stuff. Mike, what do you collect other than comics? I mean,
Records.
records, the vinyl stuff.
No, mostly CDs. Power pop. I'm a huge power pop nut. I write about it all the time. I get a couple of new records every week because people send them to me to review on our site, popgeekheaven.com. Popgeekheaven.com. And if you know what I mean by power pop, it's Cheap Trick, the Beatles, the Who coined the term. It's uplifting, surging pop music that usually involves hooks and bridges and soaring harmonies, like the Beach Boys. Their upbeat stuff is archetypal power pop. The Plimsouls, Jellyfish, so many bands do it. The Gin Blossoms.
Do you play any music yourself?
No, I just listen.
That's me. I can't play anything. I used to play keyboard by ear, but it was not anything.
I started playing piano when I was younger, and I just forgot to read I forgot how to read music. I mean, I could if I sit there in front of the keyboard, I could peck it out, and then I could work the timing out now still, I think. But
that's what I did, was everything by ear.
Yeah.
My parents were looking to buy an organ for the church, and I was walking around the store, and I just started figuring it out and playing some things. And next thing I knew, they hooked me up with lessons, and I didn't have any interest in that after that. If I could figure it out myself, I had fun. High school, I played Bon Jovi's Runaway with a group of guys for a talent contest, and I think we came in second place. I can still play that song. It's the only song I can play on keyboards. I just had to figure it out as I
Could be
went along.
worse.
Yeah. If you're interested in it, you'll figure it out. Sort of like writing comics. If you really want to do it, you're going to figure out how to do it and do it your way and get it done.
Pretty much.
Which is what crowdfunding's letting us all do now.
That's amazing. I love the fact that everybody can just come together. I mean, that was one of the things I really dug about the whole Comicsgate thing, was that everyone just kind of came together and bought each other's.
Stick around long enough. Stick around a little longer.
Well,
they come apart when they come together.
Well, everyone breaks apart. It's just a hashtag. You know, anybody can use whatever they want. I mean, I've seen it used to disparage people. I've seen it used to lift people up. It's just a hashtag. It's just a word.
I've always said if you could get nine creators to get along long enough, they could do a really cool trading card project and cross promote and get 9 projects all lifted up by each other interconnectedly. But
if you could get 9 to not get upset with each other.
Exactly. All right, gentlemen, we have crossed our hour-long mark here, and anything else I would say beyond here would just be filler. So I appreciate you all 3 coming on tonight, and I appreciate our chat coming in and participating in the show, and hitting those links. If you're watching a replay, hit the links. Get out there and back Otis Stein. Get out there and back Mary Machine Gun, and of course, while it's still in demand and you can still get it, get yourself some Florida Man. You will enjoy all 3 of these things. Gentlemen,
Thank you, RJ.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Max. Thank you,
Yes,
Matthew. I'm going to let y'all go, and we will see you all again with your next projects, we hope.
Yes.
All right. Take care, everybody.
See you.
Hi. Thanks for stopping by for another Critical Blast video. The internet is a big place, and we know there are lots of other places you could be other than here, and we appreciate you being here immensely. If you enjoyed this kind of content, we hope you'll return for more. If you click the subscribe button, you'll get a little notification of when we produce new video content. If you would like to help the channel out, there are many ways to do so. Just visiting our main hub, criticalblast.com, will do wonders. But if you're more of a show me the merchandise type of person, there are links in the description of this video to our t-shirt shop, as well as links to Amazon for the books we publish under the Critical Blast Publishing imprint, including the urban fantasy anthology Gods and Services and the YA superhero novel Bulletproof by Stephen J. Mitchell. Thanks again for visiting this video. We hope you had a blast.